welcome to another episode of the Bottom of the Sheen movie show. I can't say stream. My name is Adam.
My name is Nick.
It is.
Well, I got it wrong last week.
You did. Somebody pointed it out to me as well. Somebody had a right laugh about it at work.
Well, you know,
Nick.
These things happen.
It was funny. It made me laugh.
That's fine.
How are you?
I'm really good.
Excited?
Hey, I'm excited to talk about this movie.
Yeah?
Yeah, I always am. It's my favourite part of the week, talking about movies.
Is it more talking about or watching? What's your favourite part?
I was talking about them.
The same.
Yeah.
Absolutely same.
Yeah.
This week, we watched a film called The Parts You Lose.
We did.
The Parts You Lose is from 2019. It is a 12. It runs for 1 hour and 33 minutes and is currently rated at 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Thoughts on 5.7? It's high. It's high end for us.
Yeah.
Higher end.
Yeah, I think.
It's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't think there's anything really controversial there with that number, to be honest.
No, I agree. The Parts You Lose stars Aaron Paul. He plays a character that is unnamed and is just credited as Man.
Man.
He plays a man. Aaron Paul, you obviously know. He's obviously most famous for his role in Breaking Bad. But he's also been in Last House on the Left,
Yep.
Need for Speed, and BoJack Horseman.
Do you know what? I've seen that Need for Speed movie.
So have I. And I've seen Last House.
I've never seen a Fast and the Furious, but it's some ever, and there's like a million of those movies. Somehow I've seen that Need for Speed movie.
I have as well, and I've never seen a Fast and Furious movie either.
How
It's
weird.
really strange.
It's not very good.
No, it's not. It's terrible. Have you seen The Last House on the Left? That's pretty bad as well.
No.
That came out whilst Breaking Bad was like early days.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bad as well. But he's in BoJack Horseman. Was he a bit responsible for BoJack Horseman? I feel like it was his baby. I think it came from him.
What his
I think it came from his mind originally.
involvement is with it.
He has involvement with it. Also stars a guy called Scoot McNairy.
Yeah.
Great name. He plays Ronnie. Most famous probably for he was in Argo.
Yes.
12 Years a Slave.
Yes.
And the second Quiet Place film.
Okay.
Quiet Place 2, in fact.
I've seen neither of the Quiet.
Have you
films.
not?
No.
They're good. You should watch them. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is also in this film.
She is.
She plays Gail.
She does.
She's recently been in a Netflix original called Kate,
Yes.
where she played the title role.
I do quite fancy that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really
never
good.
quite got around to
I
that.
nearly got to it once, but didn't.
Okay.
She was also in Birds
Bailed
of Prey with Margot Robbie, and she is also in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
She was in. Also, I think not the most recent, maybe the season. I think maybe the third season of Fargo, the TV show,
Okay.
and the one where Ewan McGregor played twins.
Yeah, another one.
And this movie reminded me a lot of that show and those
Yeah, I think
movies,
that's fair. Yeah, that's good.
both in
good
its
shout.
tone and its setting.
Yeah,
So
that's a good shout.
Yeah,
I agree.
thanks. You may continue.
She's also in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Also, finally, I'm going through. You only usually do 3 cast members, but there's pretty much only 4 cast members in this
Yeah,
film. And
essentially.
you can't not shout the kid out.
No.
So, it stars a kid called Danny Murphy. He plays Wesley.
Yeah.
He is deaf in real life. He's deaf in this film.
Yes.
He had an issue filming this film because he's fluent in British Sign Language. However, the film is made in American Sign Language.
No way.
So he had to relearn sign language for this role.
What a hero.
He has a bigger disadvantage in real life than the character he plays as well, in that he can't read lips.
Okay.
Which I found really interesting. Yeah. He can't read lips. So all the lip reading in the film is not him reading the lips. He obviously just knows the script.
Because there's not actually, for his character, there's not that much signing. It is mostly lip reading that the character does.
Which he, as an actor, he can't do. He also has very little to any dialogue. One word, I think, his dialogue is in this film. I think he only
some noises and one actual word.
One actual word, yeah. Written. This film was written by Darren Lenke. Darren Lenke has a strange list of films that he's written in the past.
Okay.
He wrote Gemini Man.
Oh,
Will Smith
version.
Yeah, which is apparently terrible.
Right.
He also wrote Shazam.
Oh, really?
Which is great.
Shazam's a good film, yeah.
Shrek Forever After.
There's always a Shrek.
There's always a Shrek.
Every week there's a Shrek. Somewhere. We've left it right to the end, but here he is.
And Turbo, the film about the snail.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote that.
Yeah.
However, the director, Christopher Cantwell, this is his only film he's ever made as a director.
Oh.
Never directed anything. He's done a few shorts.
What a cunt.
But nothing.
Well.
Done a few short films, but never anything
okay.
other than that, apart from this. And nothing since this. Do you have a one-word review of The Parts You Lose, Nick?
Cold.
It is cold. It just looks
Well,
cold.
what
all the way
else
through.
can you?
It's cold all the way through.
Yeah.
It's my very first note. My first note says, looks cold.
My first one says a snowy tundra.
Tundra.
So I
good
really
word.
wanted to use the
That's
word.
a great use of the word tundra. I will ask you now, where does this film start, Nick?
A snowy tundra. There's a boy waiting in said tundra.
Yes.
And shortly into his wait, a school bus arrives.
That's a really weird way of saying that sentence, but that's fine. That is exactly what happens.
I'm painting a picture.
You are. Better than the movie did. It
Really?
does. He gets no, not at all. I don't know why I said that. He gets picked up for school by a school bus.
It's fucking cold. I don't know if we mentioned this.
It does look cold.
There's like a couple of buildings that you can see on the horizon.
Yeah.
You know, we're in proper, like I say, Fargo country.
Yeah,
aren't
definitely. It does look really cold. He's on the bus. There's a bit. I guess it starts with a bit of a montage because he's at school. It's a school for kids.
Yeah, kids with disabilities.
That's it. I wanted to be politically correct, and I couldn't think how to say it. So I just said it's a school for kids, which all schools are for.
That was like me saying, what did I say about a teaching school the other week? The bus is pelted, isn't it?
Yeah,
by
snowballs
other kids
Yeah.
on its way to school, and they shout, "Oh, look, it's the retard rocket!"
Yeah.
So that's the kind of level we're dealing at.
Yeah,
these kids are up against it, man.
Yeah, they are. They really are. And he's at the bottom of this pecking order as well.
Yeah,
he's like the lowest of the low because he's getting bullied at this school.
Yes,
by other kids.
He is. Yeah,
and it's not good.
There's a particular lad at this school who just comes and wipes his snot
into his hair
in our
Wesley's hair.
Our protagonist Wesley's hair
because he can't hear him coming.
No,
because he's deaf.
I mean, we do find out he's not completely deaf.
Yeah,
and I could have done without this. My first criticism. I just know it's a bit heavy-handed how this movie did it. It every now and again it threw like how can I describe it? I guess like an underwater muffled sound effect, trying to
imitate what he could hear. I
guess.
guess.
And I don't know, that just felt a bit
unnecessary.
Yeah, I could have done without that.
Agreed. After school that day, he plays the whole film. The beginning of this film is just all a montage.
So we're just getting a feel for this kid's life.
Yeah, for his life and what he is. So he plays some games with his mum after dinner.
He's at home with his mother and his sister.
Yeah. At this point, doesn't appear to be a father on the scene.
No. There's always a sort of crackling fire going on.
Yeah.
They're in quite a dilapidated house, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's sort of paint peeling and
it's
windows
quite a walk
rattling.
from where he catches the school bus as well. He has to walk a bit of a way afterwards.
It's a sort of place where your neighbours a mile away.
Yeah. So there's a bit of a montage of him going through the same thing over and over again and going to school, getting bullied a bit, coming home, hanging with his parents. One of the days he sees there's a kerfuffle on his way to school.
Yeah, so they go through the sort of little town and there is a lot of police action.
Yeah, something's going on.
The aftermath of a event.
He sees it from the school bus window as he drives past. It perks his interest a little bit, but we kind of forget about it straight away.
Yeah.
That day when he gets home, though, his dad is there. His dad's appeared.
There's bad vibes straight away.
Yeah,
the atmosphere changes in
completely.
the house.
As soon as he sees his dad, Wesley's face drops.
Everyone's on eggshells around this guy.
He's not a nice guy, is he?
I think he mentions he works on an oil rig.
Yeah.
So, presumably he's gone for weeks, then he's home for weeks. Yeah.
And it's not a nice place when he's back.
Yeah.
You could instantly see Wesley wasn't happy to see him. But they all sit down, they have a family dinner together. They start talking, and the dad mentions that he's heard about the shooting that's happened that morning.
Yeah.
At the garrison, he said.
He says there might be 4 people dead.
Yeah. The dad wants Wesley to read lips. His mum signs for him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want her to.
This guy's a dick straight away.
He is straight away.
He's like, well, why do we need to use sign language?
He's not deaf, is what he actually says. He's not deaf. Yeah. He is. But the dad won't accept it.
I wonder here if I wanted a bit more from this character of the father. I think should there have been a bit more exploring, why was he so against the sort of signing?
Absolutely.
Why was he, it's kind of hinted at his attitude, sort of like, I just fucking man up.
Yeah.
Which, he didn't want to actively help his son or see him thrive.
I think what you've hit on there is the main my main problem with this film is that this film is about father figures.
Yeah.
And yet the father figure's a really weak character. The whole film is Wesley looking for a new father figure.
Yeah.
But the actual father himself is not a rounded out character that we know enough about.
So even if he's a bad father, it's a you're right, it's a weakly drawn bad father.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we
never really understand
enough of that.
Why Wesley's trying to substitute him as much as he is.
Yeah.
As we go through this film, you'll see more.
Yeah.
But because of how weak Scoot McNairy's character is, I just don't think it really
And
works.
I think, to be fair to Scoot McNairy, he does a pretty good job with what he's given.
Absolutely.
But he's not given too
enough.
much, is he?
No, he's not given enough. To the point, well, I probably should go into this more at the end, but I would probably write the mother figure out of it and just have him with this fight. What was that?
Something big flew past the window.
I'd maybe get rid of the mum character completely and just have him with the dad who he hates.
Yeah.
So I think that might...
So
we'll get to that
he's even more inescapable.
Yeah, he can't get away from him.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe. The next day, his dad's made his lunch. He never signs for him. He never signs for him the whole way through this film, so he can't understand what his dad's saying. He gets bullied a bit more at school. Same sort of shit. But then on his walk home from school, after he's left the school bus, he stumbles across a man lying in the street.
Yes.
He looks injured. He doesn't look well, this man. This is Aaron Paul.
We say street. You can't tell it's a street.
No.
It's just snow. And this... Yeah, so Wesley finds this guy who just sort of shushes him, doesn't
puts his fingers to his lip.
But that is a big effort for this guy.
Yeah, he's in a bad way.
And then we get, I thought, probably the nicest bit of cinematography in this movie. We get a lovely sort of tracking drone shot.
Yeah, high shot.
As we move away from this silhouetted man in the fetal position on the road.
Wesley legs it. He runs.
Yeah, he's like, what the hell's going on there?
Because he tries to alert his dad. He goes.
His dad won't listen to him.
Yeah, his dad's at home working on a tractor or whatever because he's a mechanic, and he tries to alert his dad, and he eventually runs away from his dad, so his dad follows him.
Yeah,
and when he gets back there, the man's gone. So the dad's angry then because he's wasted his time. He's pulled him away from his work, but the man's not there anymore.
We then go to cut straight to another intense scene around the family dining table.
Yeah, this was horrible.
Yeah.
This made me jump.
Yeah. And Scoot McNairy's character, the father, it gets very angry because no one passes him the salt.
Yeah, because he asks Wesley for the salt and Wesley can't hear him.
He's looking out the window.
Yeah, he's not looking.
Trying to work out what the hell has just happened.
Where that dude's gone. So he just screams the word salt really loud.
He
bangs
the table.
It made me jump and I was watching it. But yeah, it was not a nice scene. That night,
I will give a little, just before we carry on, a little shout out to so the character of Wesley's little sister.
Yeah,
she's only in 3 or 4 scenes in this movie.
Doesn't say a word.
Barely says a word, but looks petrified the whole way through, and it did add to the sort of the menace.
Yeah.
However poorly the character of the father is written and drawn in this movie, everyone around him really acts scared of him.
Yeah,
but it's just not quite enough.
We're not quite there.
Yeah,
yeah. That night, Wesley sneaks out at night, and he manages to find the man again. He goes looking for him, and he finds like lying somewhere in a bush somewhere.
Yeah, he's made it to the roadside, I think. And
then super strong Wesley, this little tiny deaf kid, drags this man through the snow.
He does put him on a sledge.
Yeah, true. But it's still...
he's still a hell of a feat of strength.
To get him onto the sledge and then to pull the sledge. He drags him all the way to the family barn, where he hides him out.
Yeah.
The rest of this film now is pretty much set in this barn, where the man wakes up.
He does.
He very quickly establishes that the kid's deaf, and the man is very injured. He has a hole in him. His side. It's quite badly damaged. His side panel.
Side panel. I think he's been shot.
Do you think he's been shot? It was shot or stabbed, I think.
Yeah,
shot, I would probably assume. So Wesley runs home, grabs some supplies, gets some food, gets some medical care equipment, plastic.
This kid is clever. He gets everything that's needed to stitch this guy up.
Yeah, he gets some needle and thread, some bandages.
Even a bit of wood to bite down on.
Yeah. some food and drink. He takes it all back to Aaron Paul's character, the man, and he stitches himself up. And then we get a bottom of the stream news report, because that's what happens on bottom of the stream. And we find that there has been a shooting in this small town. It's in a hotel, and it's the first time there's been a homicide in this town since 2004. So we're a long time on the... you get the sign, last accident in this factory was. 2004 was the last homicide. So some people have been killed, and now we've got a man who's been shot lying in our barn. So we can start to put two and two together what this story is at this point.
Yeah, they say there's 3 suspects and a cook dead.
Yes. It was a hotel, wasn't it? Yeah. Wesley takes the man out some more food because he's like, I'm starving, I need some food. And then when he's finished his food, he's all stitched himself up, he's all bandaged up, and he's like, right, I'm going to go. I'm done. I'm out of here. Can't hang around here. But then as soon as he gets to his feet, he stumbles and he drops a load of cash.
He does, yeah.
He's got a shitload of cash in his bag.
It's all sort of wrapped up in various...
Yeah.
Because at first I thought it was a load of old ladies' purses.
It did look like that, yeah. It was all wrapped up in material and stuff.
You got like choppers going overhead.
Yeah, you can hear choppers going overhead. So he's like, right, I probably am going to hang around here for a little bit longer. It seems a bit dangerous to leave right now. And so he's in the worst bit of parenting in this film, probably, and he's not the parent. He sends Wesley to a truck stop on his own.
This doesn't look like a nice place to go.
It doesn't. You wouldn't send a 9-year-old deaf kid there, would you? He's like, I need you to go and find my friend. I'll find this guy I'm working for.
Yeah.
Which he does. Wesley manages to find this guy.
He leaves a ring.
Yeah, he leaves
on this guy's
the
truck.
man's ring on the truck tire. So the man finds the ring, finds Wesley, gets told the story.
Wesley gives this guy one of these packets of cash.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, right, I need a few days to figure this out.
Yeah. Go back and
tell him.
Go back and tell
I'll
him.
let him know when I
feel like we could have got a name for him at this point.
Yeah.
Why have we not got a name for this guy? It just makes it difficult when you're talking about him on a podcast. He also gives him a phone.
Because and I know it is a really little thing to nitpick at, but they spent so much time together in this barn. I think it's unrealistic to think he's at no point is he going to go.
What's your name?
Yeah,
no, both of them don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. This man
even if he gives him a fake name because of the I did a massive crime problem
potentially.
Yeah.
And he also gives Wesley. This man gives Wesley a phone to give to the man, so he can contact him when he's ready to pick him up or whatever he's going to do. So he does. Wesley takes the phone back, gives it to him, gets him some more clothes, some more supplies into the barn, and he's getting stronger. He
starts doing like barn rehab. It's almost like Rocky.
There's a montage of him just like walking slowly around the barn to the point where he's then jogging around the barn.
And then he just
Then he's starting doing pull-ups on some of the shutters. And there's a really nice scene now where...
It was cute, this bit.
It was cute, because the man's doing pull-ups on the bar in the barn. So Wesley grabs a box and tries to copy him. Yeah. And it's their first real bonding moment, isn't it? Yeah. Because the man tries to teach him how to do it. He obviously can't do it. He's 9. So then that night, when Wesley goes back out to see him again, because his parents are... even his mum's terrible. She doesn't notice that he's leaving the house every night.
And they never seem to question
where he's going or where he's been.
No, he seems to have pretty free run, to be honest.
I mean, it's the family farm, so...
Yeah, I guess so.
He's only going to his own barn.
Yeah.
He's not going off-site, is he? But he takes some games out. He's got a checkers board and a few other games. He wants to play some games with this man.
Checkers montage. This is our first checkers montage in the history of Bottom of the Street.
Think of another checkers montage. But the man beats him every single time, to the point where Wesley gets really angry and throws the board across the barn.
He does.
And
he says, like, well, you win when you win. I'm not letting you win.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not letting you win. He's like, now pick that shit up.
Yeah.
He's like, he's parenting him. He's literally parenting him at that point. And he tries to teach him. He tries to teach him how to be better. And he's giving him the rules and how to actually play. And they start bonding because the man talks about how he's got a daughter that's probably about the same age as Wesley.
Age, you'd get on with her.
You'd get on with her. And then the final line of this scene is, why have you got buggers in your hair?
Yeah, quite, yeah.
So he says, are you being... He figures out that he's being bullied. It's quite clear that he's being bullied. So he's like, bring me your school bag and your thermos and your piggy bank.
Yeah.
And I'll teach you some shit. And so he does, and he teaches him to load coins into his thermos
It's
flask.
the old sack of quarters.
Sack of quarters into your thermos and then into your bag. And then just whack the crap out of shit with it.
He says, yeah, but I mean, he doesn't mince his words.
No, he doesn't.
He's like, do not stop until that kid's head splits open.
Yeah. It's like, these kids are 9. And he starts bashing it into this thing in the barn. Like oil tank type thing. But he can't. Wesley's not a strong kid, so he can't really. He's not really got the energy to do it.
He
doesn't
doesn't
really
give him
want
the
to do it either. He
Yeah.
doesn't really want to do it. But the man kind of winds him up to the point where he does do it, and he loses his shit a little bit.
He
And
does.
the next day he does. He stands up to this kid in the school. He never actually has to hit him because
Just the act of standing up to him.
Yeah, just
is
the act of
enough.
standing up and not losing eye contact
And
with this guy.
The bugger kid backs down.
He does. He goes and sits back down. This next scene I didn't really understand at the time, and I still don't particularly understand it now.
I'm glad you've said that because I also don't understand this scene.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
So Wesley gets home from this bit of triumph at school, and waiting at home with his mother is a guy who introduces himself as Mr. Chambers.
Yeah.
He's a policeman.
Yes.
And he's talking about the incident in town, and he says that 4 out of the 5 armed men have been apprehended.
Yeah.
And that one man is still out there, and there are reports that a stranger has been seen around town. As he's explaining this, the sort of guys we see through the window searching the farm.
Yeah.
Why is he here and why is he talking to Wesley?
That's
He
exactly my
specifically
point.
says, "Can I talk to your son?"
Son, yeah. How does he know that Wesley knows this guy?
Yeah, what's tipped them off? There was nothing. It just felt out of the blue, and I was like, "Oh, well, this is happening."
Yeah. And then Wesley says he doesn't. Obviously, Wesley's like, no, I don't know him. I don't know what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
because the guy said, "Oh, can I speak to your son in private?"
Yeah. And then
Where has this come from?
I don't know, and I don't understand where it's come from. And if the only thing I could think of is he knows that Wesley knows this guy, but if that's the case, why does he then leave?
Well, how do they know?
And how do they know that?
Because it's not been hinted at.
No, it really threw me because it really took me out of the film as well. Because I'm like,
the only possibility is that the trucker shipped him in.
Yeah, but
and gave the police the description of the boy.
But then they don't come for him.
No,
for like
days and days.
Days and days later.
So
if they know where they clearly at this point know where he is. Because why would they be at that farm if they didn't know he was there?
But then they search it later and they don't
find him. And they just leave at this point. Wesley's like, I don't know him. And he's like, okay. And just goes. And it really was like, that's really taken me out of the moment. Because I don't understand.
It didn't.
That scene doesn't make any sense to me as how they know and why, if they do know, why have they left it?
Yeah.
I'm glad you saw that as well. I thought I'd missed something.
Yeah, it was the only thing on the timeline that made me think, well, is the trucker guy must have shipped him in. But then that doesn't make sense because why didn't they just go and get him?
Yeah, exactly.
And the movie is over after 40 minutes.
Yeah. It's really bizarre. But yeah, so I've written here, how does he know?
Yeah, I put, why are they questioning the kid?
And then he just leaves. He tells a story about a lady who raised a mountain lion.
Yeah.
And then eventually it ate her
and
whole family.
it was their best friend, but in the end it turned on her and ate her.
Hate her and all of her family. Which is like, he's implying that he knows this kid knows.
Yeah.
And that it's dangerous for him to know. But then he doesn't do anything about it.
No.
Oh, so weird. But then he just leaves and all the cops just leave.
Yeah,
and we never see him again.
The bit that doesn't make sense is that even if this lead detective knows and they've got a ploy, and I don't understand why they'd wait several days, even weeks, before they come back to apprehend the criminal. The police are literally searching the barn.
Where he is in there.
Yeah. But they don't bother going in, which they then do later on as well.
The only explanation is that this is in the wrong part of the film and it should be right near the end.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it? It's been edited into the wrong place.
Right here.
It's been edited into the wrong point. If it comes before the final scene, like the day before the final scene or the minute before the final scene takes off, then it makes a bit more sense. But it doesn't. It comes too early in the film.
Sure.
It's really weird. It feels like it's edited into the wrong place in the film.
Yeah.
And I hope that's not the case. Anyway, he goes and plays... they all leave. Wesley goes out and speaks to this dude who is in the barn. They play some more checkers. Wesley notices that he's got a finger missing on one of his hands. And he says a tiger bit it off. He said, I learned how to hunt, and then I ripped the tiger's heart out, squeezed it tight and turned it into a ruby, which is why he wears this ruby ring.
Yeah, I mean, and I took this story to mean essentially that the man also had a sort of abusive or detrimental father figure.
Yeah, somebody was bullying him.
Yeah.
And then he sends Wesley home. He's like, you can't hang around here anymore. There's another school montage then. And there's a bit more.
You learn about planets and shit.
Learn a bit more about planets. And then there's a really touching scene on the school bus on the way home. It's really understated as well, where he's colouring his finger in black.
Yeah.
So it looks like he hasn't got a finger.
Yeah.
It doesn't mention it. It's never mentioned again. It's a really nice little touching scene.
Still got the cops kicking around town.
Yeah, they're still looking for this dude.
Looking at all these buildings.
He starts teaching the man sign language because they do the Pledge of Allegiance, don't they, in the school, and he teaches him that when he gets home.
It was a sweet scene as well.
Yeah,
actually.
it was really nice. Aaron Paul plays it really well. The relationship between those two is actually really good.
Yeah.
They bond. He asks him if he knows any cuss words in sign language, which really excites Wesley because he gets to swear. Then they start throwing a ball together with each other. No, they're just bonding, but it's actually quite a touching relationship.
Yeah, but they're letting the guard down a bit.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
They're suddenly making quite a lot of noise, sort of larking around.
And
just as the cops are outside again.
The cops turn up outside again, put a torch through a window, have a quick look. Wesley doesn't see them because he can't hear them coming. Yeah. The man pulls him down, hides him away, and then the cop just leaves again.
Don't even bother opening the door.
These cops know this man's in this barn. At this point,
well,
they must do. They've been there like 3 times now. It's like there must be other barns. It's such a weird thing. I don't understand it. But the cop just leaves again.
Lazy cops are a real crutch in this sort of movie. Was it? Remember when we watched that dog movie, Bullethead, and exactly the same thing happened?
Yeah, just lazy cops.
Yeah, can't be bothered to open a door to look and see if the criminal's inside.
Yeah, it's really... Because Mr. Chambers even says, we think he's injured, probably gravely injured.
Yeah.
But we're not even going to open this door to go in and have a look for him.
Yeah.
It's lazy. When he gets home, Wesley gets home, his dad's whinging about his TV being broken and his tractor being broken.
This is Wesley trying to sneak out in the middle of the night, and it's the one time he does actually get caught because his dad's sort of drunk downstairs.
Very drunk. He starts beating the TV up, basically. And he tells a story about his dad fixing a radiator for some reason. And then he starts beating the TV and he says to Wesley, now you tell me where the hell you've been going.
Yeah.
And then the next thing we see is Wesley with a black eye the following morning. So we assume that he's been attacked by his father.
The man works out very quickly who has done this to him.
The man works out instantly who's done it to him.
And then we get a family scene where everyone, again, does a bit of good acting and looks absolutely petrified of the dad.
Yes.
So all 3 of them. And the story is that, the dad says, well, I was thumping the TV to try and get it working, and I caught Wesley with my elbow.
Yeah, he got in the way.
Yeah. No one believes this.
No.
But everyone's too scared
buys it anyway,
to challenge him.
Then he starts talking about, his dad talks about how they need to bond more, the 2 of them.
He wants to take him fishing.
He wants to do up a boat and then take him fishing.
A guilt trip fishing
Literally a guilt fishing trip. But Wesley can't hear him and he's not signing.
Yeah.
So Wesley he just ignores him because he doesn't even know he's talking.
Yeah.
So his mum signs something to him and then Wesley agrees.
Yes, I would like to do that.
Yeah, let's do that. The next thing we see is his dad in a bar. The mum's crying at home and the dad's having a few drinks in the local bar. And as he leaves the bar that night, he gets confronted by a mystery man.
Yeah, you just see
just see a shadowy figure come up behind him. And then the next thing we know after that is Wesley being pulled out of school by the principal.
Yeah.
And taken to a hospital because his dad's been beaten up.
Sure.
Badly.
He's in bed in a bad way.
He's got concussion and swelling on the brain. There's a cop who says to him, come on, let's go to the snack machine to cheer this kid up.
Yeah.
Then walks him straight past the room where his dad's dying.
A bloody mess.
Bloody mess. I'm like, come on.
That was convenient exposition, as was the next scene where Wesley's mum is on the phone basically explaining what exactly has happened to her husband.
Yeah.
On the phone to her friend or her mother.
Just in case we weren't quite sure what happened. Yeah, it was a bit lazy. Wesley goes home, he sneaks some beers out to the man, and they drink together. Wesley's not drinking beer, but he's taking some beers out to the man, he's got some Coke or whatever. Then he tells a story about a fire when he was a kid.
Yeah, basically, Wesley is told another story by the man about how the man says, I lived on a farm. We had a horse farm. I wanted to name all the horses. My dad wouldn't let me. Didn't want us to connect. And then the farm burnt down.
Yeah,
my dad basically cashed it in for the insurance.
Yeah. The only time my dad ever took us out for dinner was the night the farm burned down.
Yeah,
so we weren't there.
And he says, I one day want to own a farm like that, and I will let my kids name every single horse.
Yeah, and he's like, you should come with me.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's a bit weird. Taking a 9-year-old with you, but fine.
Yeah, well, he says you could come and visit.
Yeah.
Wesley daydreams of this trip.
Wesley has a daydream of them all playing with a horse, and he's at school, isn't he? Daydreaming whilst he's at school.
Yeah.
That night, he goes back to the hospital to visit his dad. His dad's talking to a couple of a couple of policemen who have a picture of the man with them, and their dad kind of nods his head when they show him the picture.
Sure.
So he fingers the man.
You're
so immature. That night, Wesley's asleep and he can hear a helicopter outside.
Oh, I've put first, there's a suspicious tractor.
Yeah, what was this tractor all about? I didn't get this.
So it was this plough that the man watched go past the barn where he was hiding.
Yeah, some days it goes past twice, some days it goes past once.
Was he just being paranoid, or was that supposed to be a sign? I didn't, again, I thought it was too subtle. I didn't understand.
It was really unexplained.
Or was it just a red herring?
No, because at the end, that's what he runs towards. Or that's what he said.
No, that was
he
a truck.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So
it was just his mate in a truck.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But he literally goes, some days the plough comes past twice, sometimes
it must have just been paranoid. Yeah. He must have just been getting paranoid by that point. But Wesley gets broken up by a helicopter. He looks out into the distance. He can see some police lights in the distance. So he goes out to see the man. The man says, look, have you told anybody? He actually the man threatens him. And that's when he's getting all paranoid about a snowplow.
Yeah.
He's like, you haven't told anybody I'm here. Wesley hasn't told anybody he's there. When Wesley goes to see him, the man's on the phone and he's talking to this guy who's coming to pick him up.
Yeah, tomorrow night it's happening.
And Wesley's got his school bag with him. And you can see what's going to happen. Wesley's going to attack the man.
Yeah.
Why?
Because of the threat.
Because he threatened him.
Yeah, I think so. So he thought, I'm going to stand up to this guy now as well.
Yeah. So he's got a thermos of coins in his bag and he's about to hit the man with it. And the man finds it, he wrestles it away from him.
Yeah, and it bursts open.
And the man's quite impressed. He's like, well, good for you. You were going to stick up for yourself.
He says, tomorrow night, be ready.
Yeah.
My spaceship's coming to collect me.
Take me away.
The sky's the limit for us.
So he's
clearly hinting that we can both go.
Yeah, I'm taking you with me.
Yeah.
I'm glad you saw that as well. So Wesley
I didn't think there was any ambiguity about it.
No, I didn't. As far as I was concerned, they were going together. Yeah. So Wesley packs a bag. He gives his mum a hug. And then
I did nearly get broken by where he stops at his sister's room and sort of shrugs. Well,
he signed, I'm going on a trip, because he'd learned that earlier in the
and sort of like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And she, again, is sitting there looking absolutely
devastated, yeah. So, he signs to his sister, I'm going on a trip, because earlier in the film we'd learned that phrase. That's what we were learning in school. He goes back to the man they play checkers with. They play checkers again while they're waiting to leave. And he actually beats him this time.
Yeah.
He beats the man at checkers for the first time. And then a truck turns up outside. The man's going. And Wesley speaks his first word in the whole film because he just says no.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want the man to go.
Well, he wants to go with him.
And he wants to go with him, yeah. But this is the point where he's realised that he's not going with him, I think.
Yeah. He's inconsolable.
Yeah, the man says that was just talk. The man's literally fucked him over it.
Yeah,
he definitely implied that he was taking him with him, and then he just doesn't. Wesley starts crying. He runs out on the man. They hug first, and Wesley won't let him go. The man eventually pushes him off and tells him to get the fuck out of here. So that's at the point when Wesley runs off. He leaves the barn. And then somebody grabs him.
Puts him in the back of the car.
I was like, oh shit, I thought this film was nearly done. We're getting a kidnap scene now. Bundles him into the back of the car, but it's the cops. It's Mr. Chambers from earlier on. And they have the dude that Wesley went to meet earlier, also in the back of a cop car.
Oh, was it not his dad?
No, it was the dude from earlier.
Was it the trucker?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't sure.
They have a similar look.
Just big beards.
Well, I think it was. It wasn't. You've thrown me. I'm pretty sure it was the trucker.
I don't think
you might
it
be right.
matters.
It doesn't matter at all.
Either way, it's the. I again, it's my problem with this movie. If it's the trucker,
Yeah.
that makes sense because they've pulled him out of the
truck. Yeah.
But it would also make sense if it was his dad. They literally look the same. They've got a baseball cap,
Beard.
huge beards, so you can't really tell the features. It's dark. If it's the trucker, then
I think it was the trucker.
okay. So let's say it's the trucker, and they've put him in the because he's in the back of another police car,
different
like he's
car,
been arrested. Then, if that's the case, then he can't have shopped him in earlier in the movie, which blows my theory earlier that they knew where the man was because the trucker's gone to the police.
Which also backs up my theory that scene should have been here or just before
near somewhere
because
around
then
the end.
if the man's gone to the police, told them what's going on, and he's now in the back of the police car, and then they've gone in talk to Wesley. Where's this dude? We know you know where he is.
Because then
and then they go into the barn and get him
because you can see the dominoes start to fall. Then because if the dad's ID'd the man, and then he's also gone in the later interviews with the police. Oh, by the way, my son's been sneaking out and he won't tell me what he's been doing.
That scene's in the wrong place in this film. I'm absolutely convinced of it now. The more we've spoke about it,
it's weird that it's where it is.
It's too early in the film. That's edited into the wrong place.
Because it took me out of it as well. Because I was like, oh right, well I expected this scene, but why not? Why have they suddenly turned up here and they're?
You're right.
I could understand it if it was like, oh, we're doing rounds, we're asking everyone, have they seen this guy? But they specifically he specifically talks to Wesley and says, where's this guy? And then tells him this story about keeping this pet.
You're completely right. And that scene can only happen after their dad's fingered the man. That scene can only make sense.
It makes narrative sense later in the movie.
After that. Yeah. That scene's edited into the wrong place in the film.
Well, no, that doesn't happen.
No, it has happened. It just has. It has. We've seen it before. What was that film we did where it was like all in the wrong order? Years ago. I can't remember what it was now. But there was a couple of scenes in that. It was a helicopter. No, it was Destruction Las Vegas. Yeah. That was definitely.
But you can see how it would happen in that terrible movie. This is like
this is a proper movie.
Yeah, in inverted commas, a proper movie.
But that scene's in the wrong place in this movie. Definitely. Anyway, we're getting towards the end. So they've got Wesley, they've got the dude, or potentially the dad, whichever, and the cops burst into the barn. Finally, the cops who've known that he was all there the whole time finally burst in, and we get this from Wesley's perspective. So it's like you said earlier about the muted sounds and the almost like he's underwater.
Going up,
You can hear muted gunshots, and then Wesley's screaming.
Yeah,
but you can't hear that.
He's
it's
inside
just
the car.
The face. It's just a picture of his face screaming, but you can't hear it, and it's quite disturbing. And would have been a great place to end the film. But it doesn't. The film carries on.
I presume some time has passed.
Yeah, this is an epilogue.
The winter is starting to thaw.
Yes, this is an epilogue. This should be a post-credit scene, basically, isn't it? Wesley is on the school bus. He's coming home from school. That night, he goes out to where he got captured.
Ran out of the barn. Yeah.
Ran out of the barn, and he finds his checkerboard on the floor because he'd left with that, and it was covered in snow.
Yeah,
because like you said a minute ago, the snow's all melting. This winter's passing. He picks it up and
opens it up,
and it's full of money.
Yeah,
these packets of money that the man had. So he runs home because he's going to tell his mum. I assume that he's found some money.
Yeah,
but his dad's there.
Shit,
his dad's just got out of hospital. He's on crutches. He asks Wesley for a hug.
No one seems happy about this.
No one seems happy about it at all. Wesley more so because Wesley gives his dad a hug. He doesn't look like he wants to, but he does. And he takes his checkerboard upstairs to his room, puts it away. Stashes it. And then he's also got the ruby ring that the man was wearing. He puts that on and the film ends.
Yeah.
So he's never going to mention this money to anybody. It's just going to be his money. What do you think?
I wanted to like this so much more than I did.
I couldn't agree more.
It should have so much going for it.
Yeah.
I thought the setting was brilliant for this sort of story. I'm a big fan of Aaron Paul.
Yeah, same.
I thought the kid in this was good.
Yeah, he was.
I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead is a good actress. Scoot McNairy, I've seen him in stuff I've liked. Yeah, it just
doesn't work.
Quite tie together. I came away disappointed.
Agreed. It just,
and I don't think I feel it was both not far away from being good, but also a million miles away from being good.
There's little glimmers of stuff in there. Like the bonding scene where they're like learning sign language together. There's a glimmer of a chemistry between the two of them there.
Yeah.
And you build on that a little bit more and you've got a half decent film, I think. You need to build that chemistry between the two of them better.
I kind of like...
You can't have a false father figure, which is what the man is, when your father figure's so prominent in the film and isn't very good.
I don't quite understand how I've got a 90-minute film, which I didn't feel dragged, and I didn't feel was too quick. But at the same time, Aaron Paul was good, but I came away thinking he was a bit wasted.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And the same for Scoot McNairy, and his character was definitely underdrawn.
Yeah.
And I just felt a bit shortchanged by the end of it.
I agree. It just doesn't quite tell the story that it wants to tell.
And I thought the ending didn't impact... I think the ending lost some of its impact because I wasn't as invested as I felt I probably should have been in these characters. Or as the movie wanted me to be in these characters.
I think that's fair. I genuinely do think that's fair.
I can't emphasise enough how that police interview scene took me away from it. After we're half an hour in, and I was like, okay, I know what this movie is, and I don't need it to be twisty and turny. I just need good performances and just a good story. And that just, I was like, it was so confusing. I was like, why are they talking to this kid? There's been no hint that they need to talk to him.
No.
He's kept this secret, and it's, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense that scene's at that point in that film. But it also doesn't make sense that they would edit it wrong. That just doesn't make sense. But it is completely in the wrong place in the film. If it comes later in the film, it works. And it probably makes the film a lot better. But it's just, it did completely take me out at the moment because I'm like, how do these cops know that Wesley knows the man?
Yeah.
How do they know to even come to Wesley in the first place? How do they know the man's in the barn? And why are they not doing anything about it for like a week?
Yeah. What, they don't need more evidence.
It gave me like 5 questions that were unanswered.
Yeah. And if the answer is he was shopped in by his trucker mate, then they should have just walked in the barn and got the guy.
Yeah. It leaves too many unanswered questions at that point in the film. But if you put it later in the film, it makes more sense. It's just weird. What's the best thing about it? It's the setting, isn't it?
It's the setting and it's the kid.
Yeah, the kid is great, to be fair. And there is a real sign of a little bit of chemistry between the two of them. If you'd have done a bit more of that, you end up with something a lot better, I think.
Yeah.
Aaron Paul jokes that this is the most light-hearted thing he's ever made, which I find quite funny. What would you change about it? I think we've just covered that.
I think we could. I want
to just move that scene.
I think it can... This is going to sound crazy. I think it can be bleaker.
Probably right.
I think it can be bleaker.
There are ways to make it bleaker.
With the relationship with his father, and you could balance that out, have a bit more stuff with him and Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
I do feel Aaron Paul was underused in this movie.
I agree. I completely agree. And I think I alluded to it earlier when I was like, if you remove the mother character completely, because this kid is loved by his mum, if not his dad.
Yeah.
If you take that love away, then you can see why he wants the more love from Aaron Paul's character.
Yeah.
It just makes it it makes it bleaker for a start because he's just miserable all the time. And it develops their chemistry a lot quicker and a lot better. I think I'd remove the mother character from this.
And you swap the scenes that he has with her become more scenes with the father.
Which builds their relationship more. And you get more bullying from the father. Because he's bullied at school and he's bullied at home.
Yeah.
And then he meets this guy who isn't bullying him, treats him like an adult, builds up a relationship with him, and then the guy gets shot.
Yeah, because I think the other thing at the back of my mind was kind of, would he leave? Because he is loved by his mother and his sister. Those first scenes at the start before the dad returned, it did make me think, I don't know if he'd go. I don't know if he'd swap the love of his mother and sister for taking a shot with.
Yeah. So if you take that love away, you get this guy building up a relationship with this new guy who he's going to run away with.
Tightens up the narrative, doesn't it?
Completely tightens up the narrative. He's going to run away with this guy. This guy gets shot and killed, and then Wesley's left to live the life that he hates living. And that's much bleaker. Yeah. Because you know that Wesley's going to be all right because his mum's going to look out for him. So I've got no issue with Wesley at the end of this film I know he's going to be okay.
Well, I think the last shot of his is him putting that ring on, and you're obviously left with, well, is this kid going to survive long enough to
take advantage of that money and that?
Well, to basically repeat the Tiger story.
Yeah.
And
take his dad out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work. It just isn't tight enough for me. It's a shame because it could have been really good.
There's a lot of great elements here, and it just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't quite mesh, does it?
Agreed. Stream table.
That's why this is at the bottom of the stream now.
Absolutely. If it was a good film, we wouldn't be talking about it, would we? Stream table. We've only got 2 films in our stream table currently. Currently, All at Sea is the best and Target is the worst. Where's this one going?
It's better than Target.
It is.
Is it better than All at Sea? It's very difficult on that.
It's a tough one.
That was also a bit of a mess.
We've not had a good start to this season, have we?
I don't think any of them are terrible.
No, they're not.
But they're all
Target's
messy.
pretty bad.
There's big issues with all of these movies.
Yeah, definitely. They're all very. I wouldn't be surprised if they're all in a similar spot towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Together. I think All at Sea's better.
See, I think that's really tough. I think
Really tough.
my slight inclination would be this, but then I think about it more, and I'm like, what? I think this gets more wrong.
Yeah.
I think this is a bigger missed opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, because this could have been a really good film, and you only got to change a few little bits, and you've got a really good film.
Yeah.
Whereas All at Sea was just silly.
And it's a mess for a different load of, through the difficult production, which we talked about last week. And but it does have a certain charm to it.
Yeah, there is a charm to it. There are entertaining scenes in it. You
Yeah.
can't say that about this. I think All at Sea's better than this. But it's very close between all 3 of those films.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a very embryonic stream.
Oh, yeah, it's very early. Very early days. So we chuck it in the
I'm-
middle?
I'm fine with this
Let's
going
chuck it in the middle.
Middle of the 3.
Excellent. Right. That just means we've got to pick next week's film.
We have.
What you after? What do you want? What do you want to watch? Your stomach.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I feel like I've had to do a lot of work watching these 3 movies.
Yeah, I'd like something a bit lighter.
for different reasons, be them cultural or language based.
Yeah.
Or trying to piece together the workings of a heist last week, which didn't work at all.
Yeah.
And then this one was frustrating for different reasons. So, am I wrong to think that if a brainless action movie came out,
No, that's fine.
that would quite please me?
Something a bit brainless. Shall we see what Robin's got for us?
Yes, please.
It has picked a film called Comes a Bright Day.
Okay.
Comes a Bright Day. It's a strange name for a film.
It is a little bit.
Do you want to know about it?
Yes, please.
Okie dokie. Let me find some stuff. It's actually British.
Okay.
We're doing a British film. It is from 2012, so it's a little bit older than what we used to. It's 15. Do you want the synopsis?
Please.
According to IMDb, it's a drama romance thriller. A romantic thriller set during the armed robbery of one of London's most exclusive jewellers.
I'm on board.
Good.
Carrying on, there was an off-screen robbery this week. Let's see if we see an on-screen one.
Do you want to know who's in it?
Yes, please.
Timothy Spall's in it.
Oh, lovely.
And Imogen Poots.
I love that name.
That's a great name, isn't it?
Poots. It's just
Poots.
nice to say.
So yeah, that's what we're watching.
Awesome.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm on
Excited?
board. Yeah.
I'm bored with it. We'll go into detail on my hatred for Timothy Spall.
Oh, yes. You can have a good rant.
I will. So go out and watch Comes a Bright Day. And in the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd at BOTS_podcast. If you want to drop us an email, our email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com, and our website is bottomofthestream.com. Hopefully the website's back up and running. If it is, you'll notice that it's changed quite a bit because I've simplified it.
It looks
made it
all
easy.
the better for it.
Thank you. On there, you'll find all of our episodes we've ever recorded, all the stream tables, and you can even get some merch if you want to buy a Bottom of the Stream
Boomerang.
Why not? We're changing the merch supplier soon, and
Yeah.
they're not going to do random shit like that. That's going to be really annoying. So we just get, if you want to buy
Still
a Bottom
going
of
to
the
keep
Stream
this
t-shirt,
this lining.
the most random they do is like tote bags. Where have I got to? Do all of that, and then check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/bottom of the stream. On there, for a couple of quid every month, you will get early access to episodes. You will get bonus episodes. Nick writes a newsletter every month that only the Patreons get to read. And if you come in at the top level, you will get a wild card, which means we can give Robin the week off, and you can pick the film that you want us to watch. Wild cards are in play. Nobody's played one yet. People tend to play early, and we've not had one so far.
Plenty of time.
Expecting one to come in pretty soon. Then when you've done all that, head over to Discord. The Discord link will be at the bottom of the show notes. We have some fun times in there. There's a good community, and we do the occasional movie watch along, which we need to get in the diary. We've not got one in the diary at the minute, so we need to sort that out. So come along. Discord link will be in the show notes.
If you could spare us a few minutes, please consider leaving us a review or a rating anywhere you can review or rate podcasts, because it really helps put us in front of more eyes and ears, and that's what we want to do. Spread the good word about our show. We'd really appreciate it.
Agreed. We're actually on some new apps.
Brilliant.
I don't know if I've
What
told
have we
you this.
joined?
Have I told you this?
I've seen the message, yes.
Didn't tell you directly,
No.
did I? We have now been accepted onto Samsung Podcasts, which is an exclusive podcast for Samsung devices, podcast player.
Okay.
It's new. Didn't even know it existed.
Fine.
And we're also now on iHeartRadio,
Oh, lovely.
which is
Anywhere you can get podcasts. pretty
literally
much.
anywhere now,
Yeah.
pretty much. So yeah, do all that, write us a review, and then go and watch, what's that film called? Comes a Bright Day.
Feels like a clumsy
It
title.
does, doesn't it?
Hopefully
I
not a
presume
clumsy
I
movie.
assume it's a reference to
Yeah.
something. It feels like a Bible reference or something. So do that, go and watch that, and then we'll be back on Monday for The Wave, and then next Thursday for that film movie show about that film.
Cheers.
Bye. Messed up the last line.